They bring down rain from the sky. They strike wood against wood to create fire. In just 1 hour, they build a house as meticulous as this. Furthermore, they possess the eyes of an eagle. If you suddenly see them crouching, expect something to happen. When they look up, it is with a brilliant analysis of what kind of wild animals passed through here, when, and how many there were. Suddenly, in the middle of a dense forest, they hear a rustle and stand as still as a pillar of salt. Seconds later, they reveal the direction the sound came from, what kind of animal's track it is, and the strategy for what must be done next. When they watch, they seem to be only eyes. When they listen, they seem to be only ears. But it is not by choice. Seeing with precision, listening with distinction, and making swift decisions is the magical skill that places them between a belly that roars with fullness and one that cries with hunger. As their legs spring forward and their hands aim the arrow, they see the prey pouncing from the tree at the exact same moment. But do not think the prey has escaped. Here is their kill. For those lucky enough to spend the day with them, this is an hourly occurrence. For you watching this video, it is a minute-by-minute spectacle. However, we have a warning. If you do not have the stomach to watch wild animals being hunted, today's video is not for you. Furthermore, watching this video is strictly prohibited for children under the age of 18. Today's journey takes us forward in body and backward in time. We travel forward to Tanzania, and by traveling hundreds of years back, we will spend the day with a people who live the same ancient lifestyle that the entire human race once lived. They are called the Hadzabe. In short, some call them the Hadza. We will continue by calling them the Hadza people. They live around Lake Eyasi in northern Tanzania, which is part of the Great Rift Valley. They are hunters. They do not plow, they do not sow, and they do not harvest. They have no concept of living for tomorrow. In the morning, they go out saying, "Give us our daily bread," and they are never disappointed. Researchers say they have lived this life for the past 5,000 years. However, they were introduced to the modern world only 150 years ago. Although they have succeeded in maintaining this ancient lifestyle that is disappearing from the earth, continuing their lineage seems to be becoming a challenge for them. There are only 1,500 Hadza people left on our planet. Not only their lifestyle, but their language also does not match that of other Tanzanian peoples. Even within East Africa, the Hadza are the only people who speak a language like this. However, if you have the chance to go to South Africa or Namibia, you will find many people who speak languages with similar sounds, including the Khoisa and Zulu peoples. To spend the day with the Hadza people, we first fly to Dar es Salaam and then to Arusha. From Arusha, we must take a 4-hour car journey to Karatu, and from Karatu, we must hire a guide and a car to travel 70 kilometers on a gravel road. If you wish, guides can also be brought from Arusha. The main thing, however, is that it is impossible to find the Hadza people without a guide. Because they live in the forest, one never knows what might happen by mistake. Furthermore, the Hadza have no permanent residence. Since their lives are based on hunting and gathering fruit, when they notice a decrease in the number of wild animals or the amount of fruit and roots in the area where they have settled, they may leave the area entirely without any notice. Thus, without an expert, it is difficult for tourists to find the Hadza. Wherever they go, they have a habit of building a small hut for shelter. Since their huts are made of local wood and wet grass, they do not need an architect, an engineer, or a building permit. While hut building in the modern world takes years, it yields to the Hadza. In just a few hours, a meticulous dwelling is prepared. You may have heard of sharpshooters who can bring down a bird from the sky. Today, you will see it with your own eyes. Here, hunting is the foundation of life and the reason for survival. Therefore, like any inhabitant of our Earth who strives to overcome life's challenges, the Hadza wake up from their sleep in the middle of the night. They light a fire and wait, talking amongst themselves until all members of the hunting group gather and the morning light appears. When they go out to hunt, they carry bows, knives, and machetes. The bow is the primary hunting tool. The machete is used to clear the dense forest or thorny trees that they encounter on their path, while the knife allows them to butcher and share a small portion of the animals they have hunted before they return to camp, as they will be hungry. Because there is no type of animal that the Hadza do not eat, they begin hunting the moment their feet step onto the path. Once an animal has entered their sight, it cannot escape, whether it is hanging from a tree, has entered a hole, or is trapped among rocks. For this, dogs are their reliable hunting partners. They hunt fast animals that they cannot catch by running, and small animals that easily hide inside rocks using their dogs. Depending on the type of hunt and the number of hunters, at least up to 20 dogs participate in a hunt. The dogs are, of course, dogs, and they do not know to wait for the hunters. If the hunters do not quickly take the prey away from them, the dogs may devour the hunted animal in an instant, making the people's hard work in vain. Furthermore, dogs that are full from eating meat will not listen even if they are called to perform additional hunting while running through the thickets. Thus, reaching the dogs immediately is necessary not only to recover the meat, but also for the hunting that will follow. Because the dogs have a high sense of smell, they play an irreplaceable role in chasing and hunting animals hidden from view. During the journey, the dogs do not walk straight along the path like their owners. Just like their masters, they eat only when prey is found, so they move off the path to search. Sometimes, if the hunters themselves find tracks indicating that wild animals have passed through the area, they send the dogs ahead. If the dogs suddenly bolt on their own initiative, it means some blessing, prey, has been found in the forest. Here, missing a shot or allowing a hard-won prey to escape is considered like joking with the daily meal of the settlement's residents. Often, an arrow released from a hunter's hand must return with food, regardless of the distance. Time is gold, so they do not stand and wait for an animal hit by an arrow to die. They end its life by striking its head or biting it with their teeth. If the prey is small, they tie it to their belt. If it is larger, they carry it on their back and continue their journey. Life as a hunter may seem simple to you. However, it has another face. Like any modern profession, it requires three fundamental things: knowledge, skill, and ethics. Every wild animal has its own unique character. Before hunting, you must have knowledge of wild animal behavior, and to provide a response based on that behavior, you must possess skill. Because animals with a high sense of smell can easily detect the presence of humans in their area, the chance of meeting them face to face is narrow. At such times, you must have the knowledge and skill to quickly identify their identity just by hearing their sounds and footsteps from a distance, or by observing their tracks and the waste they leave behind. Some animals are fast. You cannot catch them by running. They require the skill to hold your ground without making a sound, to approach by crouching in hiding, and to aim without missing. Sometimes a hunter may come face to face with a dangerous beast and become the prey himself. When things turn around, some beasts, instead of running when they see you, may stare you down, puff out their chests, and come towards you roaring. In these moments, what awaits you in front of you is not food, but death. Therefore, your chance of survival will be determined by the extent of your knowledge about these beasts. The Hadza are people like us, so they fear the lord of the beasts, the lion, the angry leopard, and the great elephant. There is also an animal they love very much, the baboon, which they never tire of eating every day. In particular, many of them wish to eat it by savoring the rump, sucking the marrow, and crunching on the bones. However, baboons are extremely difficult creatures. They can hang from trees, distinguish human movement from a distance, and easily escape when they suspect danger. Consequently, the Hadza are not able to eat baboon as often as they wish. By changing their hunting strategy, they go to baboon-populated areas at night, surround the trees where the baboons sleep, and monitor their every move. Because baboons are hunted by humans, hyenas, and leopards, they choose the night and high tree branches that enemies cannot reach for sleep. The Hadza, carrying flashlights, perform their hunting work by waiting for the hour when their prey slumbers. When the Hadza go out to hunt, they may stay out from morning until evening. However, they do not pack food, nor do they carry water. They spend the day eating what they find in the forest and drinking spring water. The Hadza have a habit of generously sharing what they find. They have a culture of the entire village gathering to roast and eat together whatever blessing has come into their hands. Today, the Hadza have changed. The youth care not only for their families, but also for the elderly of the area. We have told you that hunting requires a special kind of knowledge. One of these skills is being able to create fire from nothing without using gas, matches, or a lighter. If you have ever wondered where our ancestors found fire to cook their food, you will see it now. First, 2 dry sticks are needed. One is placed on the ground with a small hole carved into it. The other is a small rod with a sharpened tip that is inserted into the hole. Next, you must rapidly rub the 2 dry sticks together with both hands until the friction creates fire. After a minute, as you can see, fire is created. Whether it is before they go out to hunt or after they return, one thing the Hadza do without ceasing is smoke. They smoke tobacco they have made themselves, and they say it increases their vision during the hunt. When the Hadza are full from eating and drinking, they spend their rest time either dancing or crafting arrows. To make an arrow, they cut wood specifically chosen for this purpose and repeatedly heat it over a fire, straightening it until it takes the desired shape. The arrows made by the Hadza are divided into 2 types, those dipped in poison and those that are not. Because large animals do not die easily and may attack their hunters after being wounded, they are killed with extremely dangerous poisoned arrows. The poison is made from the blood, sap, of a tree found in the forest. This sap is boiled over a fire and mixed with ash so that it will stick to the tip of the arrow. The Hadza place a unique mark on each arrow according to the owner's preference. This mark is an easy way to identify which arrow belongs to whom. Bird feathers are attached to each arrow. This allows an arrow flying toward its target to go straight without losing its direction due to the wind. The Hadza are also known as skilled medicine makers. They heal any kind of illness they encounter in the forest in a traditional way. They acquire all this knowledge not by going to school, but by learning from their elders. Children are given training before they go out into the forest for hunting. They practice everything from arrow making to target lessons and practical exercises. Honey is another food of the Hadza. However, to eat honey, they do not keep bees. or hang hives. They search for trees containing bees and extract the honey that the bees have naturally made inside the tree. Since bees live where there is honey, they pacify the bees by blowing smoke into the hole. If the amount of honey is small, they share and eat it right there. If it is a large amount, they take it back to the village. If they find a significant amount of honey, they send it to a nearby market to exchange it for rice, food flour, or clothes. When we say they exchange it, it does not mean they sell it and buy something else. Here, numbers have no place. Almost everyone is confused by numbers. Those who can count up to 5 or manage market transactions are considered to have advanced mathematical skills. For this reason, most of them do not know the hour, the day, or even their own age. Life among the Hadza, much like the modern world, is not always easy. Now they complain that as forests disappear and the number of wild animals dwindles, life is becoming hand to mouth. Sometimes, after running all day to hunt, they may return empty-handed without any blessing, prey. In this way, they may go for days without eating. During these times, the only source of food is the roots and tubers that the women dig up from the forest. We conclude our journey today here. Thank you for being with us.